Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back on this episode of World of Tanks. We have Dimmons _1 from 13 AD in this Conway Tier 9 British TD. You'll notice there's no artillery in this game, and we are on Overlord. He spawned into the south, and he's going up to the center, which is really the controlling point on this map. You know, as I was watching this replay, it's a pretty good replay. Does a lot of damage. Does a lot of good things in here. It struck me as how different a lot of people play this game. He comes up here and puts a shot right into that T10, and he obviously has a good idea of how the bushes work. The only thing I don't particularly like about this spot is it is exposed to those bushes. I usually come up a little bit further, but he knows exactly what his gun depression is on the Conway, which is really good and surprised me. So, like I said, it's interesting to me how different people play the game differently, and I learned from watching you guys as well. I didn't realize that this spot was that useful for a gun with depression. So he takes a shot in there, and he's off to the races with 339. This gun doesn't hit particularly hard, but it does reload quickly. So he gets a FV, losing its mind. Is that guy disconnected? His turret's turned backwards. Very possible. Yeah, it looks like... Yeah, so unfortunately that guy went up and over and disconnected and kept going. And Dimmons is going to shoot right into the sprocket. You're going to watch him do this quite a bit, especially early on. He's looking for those tracking shots that also do damage. So nicely done there. Gets a little goobered up with his buddy. Watch out for that. Just driving in and ramming people to get into the spot is a bit irritating, especially when people try to take the inside track, and that's what most people will do. They'll try to ram onto the inside of a corner if they can, and it's really, really irritating actually. So go to the outside if someone's already working the inside. If there's a huge spot, obviously take what you got. So Dimmons is a little bit hesitant, doesn't want to really drive around the corner and take on 3 or 4 tanks, which is a good idea. This tank just doesn't have that much armor. So it gets a Type 62 coming up here, and we get a 430. One of the other tier 9s is blasting through the middle of the bowl. At some point you want to move up in this bowl, but you've got to create the conditions to do so. You can't just go blasting up there early. Now 430 might be able to get away with it for a while, as he's a tier 9 TD with some pretty good armor. He's going to come up here, but the problem with getting in that bowl is there's so many shots on you from so many different directions if the enemy team is there, but they really don't seem to be. There's quite a few of them down on the beach. A Progetto, an IS, and a Low. So that's kind of hurting them as they're down there, but we've sent an IS-3 and another Muppet down there as well. We got a couple TDs way behind, so really the only group that's going to do anything to make this game a win is about where Dimmons' team is, right over here. This is the power that they've got, and they are facing a good number of the enemy tanks right there. So looks like Dimmons is going to be very careful. Does a nice job just right into that track, and wham. It's a good angle because it goes up into the hit box behind the tracks. So he's able to get a track and some hit points off of the guy. That's one of the things you got to watch out for if you're really going to be one of those tracking kind of guys, is you've got to understand the different tanks, where the hit boxes are, and be careful about it. Otherwise you're going to get a lot of tracks and not a whole lot of damage. I don't even know what... He must have seen someone back there, or I missed that completely. The Scorpion... Oh, I have no idea what just happened there, to be quite honest. He bounced... The Scorpion bounced and he shot blind, I think is what happened right there. Not sure if he hit him. We'll find out when we get to the results page. I think he mentioned something about it, so he may have actually right there. What happened there is he took a shot from the Scorpion that bounced. He lined up the shot direction and he fired right into it using the terrain that he could see, and figured he was probably up in that bush or on that ridge. Nice shot into the stirrup, and it looks like he did get hit points off of him, because the Scorpion has hit points missing, and that's about the first time he was spotted, unless somebody else took them right as he was spotted. So that was nicely done there. No reason not to take that shot, to be quite honest, especially in this situation. Now, if you had a better shot, then yeah, let's take a better shot where you've got a guy that's lit. But in that case, nicely done right there. Now, I discussed moving up in this central area. There is a time in which you want to do it, and I would say you're a little bit late, but something interesting happens right here. So we'll watch as Dimmons comes across. Maybe waited a little long. Gets spotted right there. Okay, so wow, look at that. And then gets hit by the Sturv 103-0. The Sturv 103-0, which was last seen over there. And he just got hit by him. So you'll see him kind of turn and go, all right, where'd that come from? Well, a number of places possibly. If we look at it, There's a bush right there. He could have just been sitting there, and he's bushed up, essentially. Dimmons got seen. The guy fired. The bush didn't lose its camo because it's way away from where he may have been. Or he may have been in that bush that he's looking at right there. Right about there, backed up on the edge. It's a very strange one. Possibly he was just on the back edge of the ridge there, but you would think he'd be spotted. But they've got great... There you go. He gets hit again by him. So one of them looks to be a crit. Lucky right there. So he actually lost less hit points than he probably should have. The first time I got hit, I'd have bailed out of there. No sense staying there. You didn't see where he was. And he definitely had you dead to rights. And interesting, so where does he go? Let's find out where we find the Sturv 103. And he's got the T-44 moving behind him, but his team has pushed through over on the east side, and now all the hit points are down over here with some of the campers in the back. And this is not won by any means, so you're going to see Dimmons move up this way in his Conway, flexing over to where his team is sort of starting to lose. A bit of a roundabout way, and then he finds the 103. So there he is. So maybe he was further back, but those things can move around. Now here's an interesting thing he did right there. He takes the shot, and he sat there for a second. The Sturv looked like he wanted to turn on him and take a shot, but then you see him pause, and you see him engage his travel mode. I'd have moved straight forward right there instead of continuing back, and it looks like maybe you realized it just a little bit later, and you had a shot, right? You could have put one more on him. Now he's making a runner. I think that was probably a good idea not to push in because there's probably some TDs back in there, but then you change your mind. And we come in here, and now we do some interesting things. We were so careful with our shots, and we come in here with the auto aim. That was interesting. And if we'd have aimed, we wouldn't need this hit points. We'd have no kidding hit him because you ended up bouncing off a weird angle. And then we got the T-29 down there, not really paying attention. And holy cow, I have no idea how that hit. I have a suspicion on how that hit, which has to do with how they determine where their shots go and when it is determined. Is it determined when the shell actually intercepts the tank based on all the physics, or is it actually determined at pickle when you shoot? Because I see that a lot. Now, there's also the possibility it's just an artifact of the replay, and the T-29 was really still somewhere around, or had part of his tank still showing. But it looked to me, from the shot as I saw it, that the T-29 was pretty well behind that thing before Dimmons fired. My theory here is that when you shoot and the Pipper has any kind of piece of the tank exposed, whether it's a hit or a miss is determined right there. And while cover is taken into account, the travel time is not necessarily done so. This could be completely wrong, but I see that a lot where you get shots and it looks like they're behind something, but they end up getting hit. I would have taken my time on that. He already fired. You had, what, 9 seconds? I'd have just driven forward, or maybe even gone by him. Look for that nice soft shot. It looks like you're going to get her done, though, right here. Back up, trying to get to that lower plate. There you go. So if you wouldn't have rushed that first shot, I think you'd have taken him down a bit sooner. So nice job. I learned another little spot. I mean, I knew the general area, but I didn't realize that good depression tanks could actually do what you were doing. And what he was doing, folks, there was he had the bush solid, so even as he was firing, he wasn't going to get spotted right there. As opposed to getting up on top and being in the bush, you're probably going to get spotted right there. Nice job working that area. I think that's the right area to go to. I thought you were a little late pushing forward right there, but it turns out it wasn't bad because there was a Sturv 103. It was sitting somewhere on that middle area by the windmill or whatever it is there, by that bunker. That was bizarre. And then you flow over there to where your team was starting to lose and help them clean up over there. So 3,500 damage. I think it's actually more because I'm pretty sure he did hit the Scorpion. We'll find out when I show you the results right there. 6 kills, 490 bounce, 431 assists, and really a kind of textbook way on how to help your team win on Overlord. You got to go to that center bowl area, work that, win it, and then flow to the right place from there. He could have set up there in the middle a little bit longer if you'd wanted to. The Sturv was an issue, but supporting his guys cleaning up the TDs in the back. But I like how he used the mobility and moved off to the west side and started helping his tanks down there so that the enemy wasn't able to consolidate what was happening there and come at him in mass. He started picking apart guys that were isolated. Nicely done, man. Appreciate the replay sending in. Everybody else, appreciate your support of the channel, and we will see you.